Hi, thank you for joining me. I'm absolutely delighted to see you here, and I'm really excited about telling you what I believe to be the best well-kept secret to business growth. So, I'm Rachel Willoughby, and I've been in business for over 18 years, but it's really only the past year or so that I've really discovered my why, my passion, my reason for jumping out of bed every morning. You see, I've discovered that I really love helping small business owners. Now, I don't mean small in stature. I mean, you might be a sole trader, you might be an owner of a micro business. But let me get this straight, I'm not a business coach. You see, what I enjoy doing is connecting people together so that they can share knowledge and forge business partnerships. I currently do this in 3 ways, and 2 of those ways I'm going to demonstrate here. So I run a Facebook business support group called LBN Referral Group, or LBNRG as it's affectionately known. And this is a place where business owners can connect, share knowledge or advertise their business, and also pass referrals. And attached to that group is an online business directory. But the third way, and the most exciting way, I think, that I help people is exactly what I'm going to tell you about today. If you have any questions, by the way, drop them in the chat box, and at the end of the presentation, we will go through those and I'll answer any questions. So before I get started, I'm going to make a few assumptions here as to why you're on this webinar. Now, because of the title of the webinar, I guess you're interested in growing your business. I'm hoping that you're wanting to take your business to a different level, skyrocketing that business. And you may be looking for some help and support in your business. Maybe you're feeling a little bit isolated, because let's face it, it can be a lonely business being a solopreneur or a micro business owner. And we can often feel at times a little bit lost at sea, and we're not sure which way to turn or how to develop our business further. So what I'm about to reveal to you today is massively going to help you in all of those areas. Now, this isn't a concept that I've created. This is a concept that has been around since time began, probably. We know that it was definitely around in the ancient Greek time because it was documented. It just wasn't called what it's called today. So in the 1930s, a guy called Napoleon Hill, this is a picture of Napoleon and this is a picture of a hill. It's not a picture of Napoleon Hill. In the 1930s, Napoleon Hill wrote what is now a very famous book called Think and Grow Rich. And in that book, he identifies 13 principles that make somebody successful. And he did this by going out and researching and talking to these successful people. And one of those principles that he talks about is actually what I believe to be one of the best kept secrets for business growth. And that principle is the mastermind principle. So this is where 2 or more people actively engage in the pursuit of a definite purpose with a positive mental attitude, and that constitutes an unbeatable force. So all of these people here have been in mastermind groups. I'm not sure that old Arthur there actually knew he was in a mastermind group, but his round table definitely was a mastermind group. But all the rest of those people there that you can see, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Franklin Roosevelt, Richard Branson, Bill Gates, they all attribute a part of their success to being in a mastermind group. So it's clearly powerful stuff. But let me explain it a little bit easier. I'm going to explain it in the term of apples. So if I have an apple and you have an apple, and I give you my apple and you give me your apple, we still actually only have one apple. But if you swap the concept of apples to the idea of ideas, I have an idea and I give you an idea, and you have an idea and you give me an idea, then hey presto, I have 2 ideas and you have 2 ideas. So that is the basic premise behind the mastermind principle. So why else are mastermind groups powerful? Well, as we've already said, 6 brains are going to be better than 1 brain. I know these aren't brains, I know they're walnuts, but they look a little bit like brains. 6 brains is going to be better than 1. That is the general principle of the mastermind concept. But not only that, When you take out time to be in a mastermind group, you're taking out time to work on your business and not in your business. Now, one of the biggest problems I see with small business owners is that they don't give themselves time to work on their business. They're too busy working in their business, so they never set aside time. And if you don't set that time aside, then you're not going to have time to think about developing your business and growing your business. And you know what, being in a mastermind group, that lonely road, well, it's not lonely anymore, because you're going to be connecting with other entrepreneurs, and they will have been there, done that, faced the same situation and challenges that you have, and they're also there to brainstorm ideas and help you find solutions to problems that you might have. And being in a mastermind means you're actually part of a team. So being part of a team is far more beneficial than being on your own, because actually everybody does achieve more. You spur people on, you spur each other on when you're in a team. One of the most powerful aspects of a mastermind group is that you get to leverage other people's experience and knowledge and insights, so that you can create your own take on an idea and implement it into your business. So being in a mastermind really does make things happen. Now, I have a person in a mastermind group who had been thinking for a while about something that she wanted to do in her business. And after her first mastermind group, she messaged me the next day to say, I can't believe it, Rachel. I've actually sat down and I've outlined a course that's been in my head for a number of years. So fast forward 2 months, and not only is that course outlined, she's written it, she's produced it, and she's actually selling it. And every time she sells that course, she gets about £8,000 into her business. So you can see why I think masterminds are incredibly powerful. And it's exactly why I want to take this concept of mastermind groups to all you small business owners. So who is the mastermind concept for? Well, it is clearly for business owners, and the LBN mastermind groups are for business owners at a certain level, i.e. solopreneurs or sole traders or people in partnerships. They're not for the multi-level businesses necessarily. But I'm looking for a particular type of person. I'm looking for someone who is definitely wanting to skyrocket their business. They have ambition to do that. I'm looking for someone who has goals or has thought of goals. They've got ideas, but they're just not really sure how to formulate them, how to push them forward. I'm looking for someone who's definitely a team player, and I'm looking for someone who's prepared to share the knowledge and experience that they have with other people in the group. And I'm looking for someone who doesn't mind being held accountable. So one of the most powerful aspects of a mastermind group is that you are held accountable by the group, so that the things that you say you're going to do, the goals that you talk about, at the end of the month, you'll be asked, did you do that? Did you do what you said you were going to do? You see, we can all have goals, but if we don't actually take the action, those will just be goals. That's all they will ever be, is goals and not outcomes. I'm looking for someone with a positive mental attitude, a can-do attitude, someone who thinks anything is possible. So if you're the kind of person who asks for advice but then doesn't really take it, or says things like, well, that won't work because, or, well, I've tried that, but, then a mastermind group probably isn't the right place for you to be. And I'm looking for someone who is committed, not just to turning up every month, but committed to their success. But not just their success, but the success of all the other group members. So how will a LBN mastermind group work? Well, there'll be monthly meetings, and these will be the same every month. So for instance, it might be the first Friday of every month, and they will run for 3 hours. They'll be up to a maximum of 6 people only, because any more than that, and people just don't get the opportunities to get things out on the table. There'll be no competitors in the room. Now, I'm a firm believer in collaboration rather than competition, but actually in a mastermind situation, you're not really going to want to have a competitor in the room where you're talking about your goals and your ideas for pushing the business forward, or indeed talking about the issues that you might have. Now, this is probably the most exciting part of the mastermind group. This is what's called the hot seat. There isn't actually a red chair there, I'm afraid, but this is where every member of the group has 25 minutes to come to the table and discuss something in their business, either something that's frustrating them or something that they actually want to discuss further in terms of maybe they have an idea for progressing their business in a certain way and they want to bounce ideas off. Now, every member within the group will then pitch in and give their opinion and their experience and maybe solutions. This is probably the most powerful aspect of the mastermind group. And at the end of each meeting, you will be asked to set goals based on what you've been talking about on the hot seat. You will set goals, and then the following meeting, you'll be asked about those goals and you'll be held accountable as to whether you did what you said you were going to do in the previous meeting. Again, incredibly powerful. You know, once you state out loud what you're going to do, you're 10 times more likely to actually do it. And then outside of the meeting, we have a secret Facebook group, and that's where you can communicate with members in the times between meetings and also upload any resources and share knowledge, etc. there. Now, just like a stag night, what happens in the group and is said in the group remains in the group, and all members are asked to sign a confidentiality agreement. Now, Rachel, what's the cost of this? That's what you're all saying. Well, it isn't free because nobody values free. But what I have discovered with mastermind groups and in my research is that they're quite often prohibitively expensive. Now, this puzzles me somewhat because if you've got thousands of pounds a month in your business to go to mastermind them, your business is probably pretty successful as it is. So I've discovered a slight, what I think is a gap in the market to give small business owners and micro business owners and people like yourself an affordable route to a mastermind group. So here's the cost. It's £600 a year membership fee and then a monthly meeting room fee. Now, if you compare these prices to something like as networking group, for instance, it's pretty much on par. But I think you'll probably agree that you get a lot more in a mastermind group than you do in that particular networking group. I have a payment plan, but obviously that's going to tip the price up a little bit more, unless if you complete an application form within 72 hours of this webinar, we do give you an early bird price. So it is slightly cheaper. Not only that, I'm going to hold those 3 payments to the same price. So you actually save £150 on the original early bird payment plan. But as I said, application forms must be received within 72 hours of this webinar in order for you to qualify for that. As an extra bonus, worth a whole £30, you can join the mastermind group and get a year's free subscription to the business directory and the referral group. And that's some of our lovely people in the referral group there. Some of our members, we've got just under 300 members at the moment. And what you get in the LBN membership is an online directory listing, regular media shout outs of your listing, and that's on Twitter, LinkedIn and Facebook, and support and advice within the Facebook group. They really are a very supportive, friendly group. You get the opportunity to promote your business at the weekends and through the daily themes, and also an opportunity to earn money by referring new members. So there's just a little bit of feedback from members of the group. If you want to check out more reviews on the group, you can go to the Facebook page LBN Referral Group, and there's about 30 odd reviews on there. But not only am I going to give that as a bonus, I'm going to give you a goal setting bonus worth £65. So I've teamed up with Vicky Henderson, who is an emotional intelligence specialist. And Vicky helps her clients achieve their own transformational results, so they move their businesses and their personal lives forward by changing their mindset. So being self-employed, we should all know the importance of goal setting. And as part of the mastermind groups, you'll be able to benefit from a 3-hour session. And that's really going to challenge you to look at your goals from a mindset, language, and sensory approach. And this is an approach that's used by a lot of successful business leaders and sports professionals across the world. So in that 3-hour session, Vicky's going to use this structure here to get you to look at your goals. whether that's business goals or life goals. Because unless you know every day that what you're doing is getting you closer to your end goals, you're really going to lose motivation. And unless your end goal is really exciting to you, or as in Vicky's words, lights up your neural networks, you're probably going to give up at the first hurdle. So what Vicky will do is identify those goals in that very first session that we do. And if you decide that after one of the meetings, it's really not for you, this mastermind malarkey, we will give you your money back 100% guaranteed. So here's a few comments from people that have attended a meeting recently, and just proving really that they're all thoroughly enjoying it and seeing the benefit of it. And if you're still sitting on the fence, we do hold taster sessions. So you can go along and actually experience one of the sessions for yourself. And then we will, if you then decide to come on to the year-long programme, we will deduct 50% of that session against the cost of the year's membership. So mastermind groups at the moment are setting up across Gloucestershire and slightly further out, Wiltshire, etc. So to find where your local one is, you need to go to this page here. Don't worry about remembering this. You'll be having an email sent out to you after the webinar with all the various links. You have the links to the taster session, the links to the application form. Speaking of the application form, this is quite an extensive application form, and it's extensive for a reason. I need to know that you're committed enough. If you fill that form in, I've got a pretty good idea that you're committed to joining a group, but also it gives me a background to you and where you are in your business journey. So I need to be able to put the right kind of people together. I need, for a start, to make sure there are no competitors in the room, but I also need to get different levels of experience. So if I have 6 people in the room, I'm looking generally for different levels of experience within that group, because if I had 6 people who had just started up, then they're not really going to learn a great deal from each other. So this mastermind group is literally from anybody. If you're just starting up, or if you've been in business 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the line, it actually matters not. You will gain something. So I'm going to ask if there's any questions in the chat box. Feel free to fire them there and I will answer those. If you don't really want to put your question in the chat box, then fire me an email. When the webinar ends, you'll get an email and you can just hit reply and ask any questions there. But remember, no question is a silly question, so fire away with them. So it just remains for me to say thank you for watching. And if you are from a different part of the country where I don't currently have a mastermind group setting up, then drop me a line, tell me where you are, and we'll see what we can do. We can always possibly have an online mastermind group setting up. So thanks very much. I'm Rachel Willoughby, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.